Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. I'm Paul Pringle. This week we're coming from the Irish Game Fair at Shane's Castle. Coming up, we're looking for the fastest working dogs on land and sea. Mike Yardley's coming over from England to teach us poor forgetful Northern Ireland folk how to shoot straight. Oh yeah. We've an intermission in Scotland where Charlie has 24 hours to catch a trout from as many trout lochs as possible. But first, K9 KPH and the Master McGrath Challenge. In its first year, this competition has set new standards for lurcher racing in the UK. Competitors have travelled from all over the country to try and win and also celebrate an Irish racing legend, Master McGrath. Before the 4 heats, let's speak to a couple of the trainers about their chances and their warm-up routine for these amazing racing dogs. So Rose, you're here today at the final of the Master McGrath. Are you excited?
Nervous.
You shouldn't be nervous.
Excited. Well, I'm excited too, but nervous. And a lot of competition today.
I see you've got 3 dogs.
3, well these 2 are mine, but this is my mum's dog.
Okay, introduce them.
Right, well this is Diego.
Okay.
This is Zola and this is Paris. Diego and Zola is both mine, and this one's my mum's dog, Paris.
Okay, and which one is favourite? The dogs we can't hear.
These 3?
Aha.
Are these 3 probably Diego?
This one?
But saying that, it's only 150 yards, you don't know what could happen.
Okay. And is that 150 yards, is that the Master McGrath distance?
For, what do you mean?
That Master McGrath would have raced over?
No, he was, it's just done in his name because he was a legendary greyhound, but he was a coursing greyhound.
Right.
So he actually probably would have put more than 300 yards more maybe.
But this is in the memory of Master McGrath?
It's just in memory of him because he would have been chasing the rail. He won the Waterloo Cup, so it was. So
yeah. Well, he's the most famous greyhound of all time.
Probably. One of them anyway.
And maybe, is Diego going to equal that?
I don't know, we'll see. I don't want to jinx him.
Okay, well the best of luck to you anyway.
No bother, thanks very much.
No problem. John Humphries, you're through to the finals today.
Yes, indeed.
Are you in with a chance?
I've beaten some of the dogs, but this is 16 of the best dogs in the UK.
Right, so it's really...
They're all here, it's anybody's call. Right. It's a short sprint, it's anybody's call.
How many dogs will be running here?
16, and they're running 4 heats of 4 dogs, with 1 dog from each heat going through to the final.
Sudden death?
Sudden death, that's the way it's going to be.
Fantastic.
5 races altogether, and the 5th one being the biggie.
Right, and it's the Master McGrath.
And it's the big one.
It's the biggie.
We're all nervous and we just wish it was all over so we can all just chill and get on with something else.
I wish you all the best.
Thanks very much, Paul. Cheers, thank you.
The heats are incredibly exciting with 1 or 2 close calls, but the decision of the judges is final. Both Diego and China are in the final, but as they near the line, the lure slows and the dogs get stuck in. To add to the tension, the race has to be run again. But this time, the favourite China officially takes the Master McGrath title. John, you've just won the race for the fastest lurcher in the country. In fact, in the UK. How do you feel?
Absolutely ecstatic. Over the moon. The challenge was through down to the 4 corners of the UK for everybody to take up the bait, but I've got it, it's mine, and I'm absolutely ecstatic.
You seem to be a bit happy about it.
I'm really overjoyed.
John, I've seen your dog run before. Did you breed this dog yourself?
No, this dog was bought from down south.
Okay, well tell me this, is it all in the breeding of the dog, or is it in the training, or what?
I think I've probably turned it into a bit of a science, to be honest, without putting too much on it. I'm strict with my food, I'm strict with my training, strict with the rest that my dogs get. And maybe it pays off. All my dogs seem to do well. Maybe it's I'm just lucky.
Is this a bit like a fighter going in at a fighter's weight?
I know her weight. I know what weight she should run at. When she's too light, when she's too heavy, and it's a struggle. I mean, she is a struggle. She's hard work. She has hard work to get right. But I think today we've just got her right.
And there were heats all over the country for this one?
Yes. I've got friends who from Scotland who come over with one of the dogs that I also bred, who's over there. He was in the first heat, I think. He's a young dog. He'll do well another time. So
basically you've got an Olympian dog?
That's what I have, and she actually won it twice because the lure broke it the first time. But can I just say that this lad deserves credit because he has slipped her the last few times for me. When she's won the All-Ireland competition 3 times in a row, and you've done her, he has slipped her before. You know, his lightning reflex is better than mine, so I know I wouldn't win it. If I was slipping, she wouldn't do it. So he deserves a credit. Well,
congratulations again.
Thanks very much.
You have done the dog proud, the dog has done you proud, and in fact you've raised again the Master McGrath memory. Well
Thanks
done.
very much. Cheers. Thanks very much.
Time to see the Golden Retrievers compete, and we move to the ancient O'Neill Castle. En route, we come across this impromptu display from some lurcher owners. Half dog, half kangaroo. This is probably the biggest collection of competing goldies ever seen in Northern Ireland. The ramparts of the castle giving the crowds a great view, and the commentator in the tower, a spectacular view. Yes. Young and old, the dogs are lovely to watch and have a huge fan base. What is so special about golden retrievers?
They're much more, well, obviously I'm biased, they're much more people dogs. They love to be loved. They don't do very well in kennels. They're brilliant game finders because they have a higher scenting. Their noses are higher than the Labradors, so sometimes on poor scenting days they will do a lot better.
They seem very exuberant, full of fun.
They are. So if you want a dog that just sits there and says yes sir, no sir, you don't have a golden retriever.
Okay. And the handlers, would they be good fun as well?
We're the same, yes.
And now from the Midlands to the Netherlands, we've got the captain of the Dutch team.
The Dutch team, yes.
How have you done so far?
Well, as team, we have done not as good as last year, but we're happy anyway.
Okay, you've enjoyed the event so
yes,
far?
Yes, we enjoyed it very much.
Is this now a significant part of your calendar coming across to James Castle?
Yeah, we hope that it is, yeah.
How did your run go on today?
I was happy with my run. It's very difficult because in Holland we don't have much like terrain like this, so for us it's difficult to act the way the English do. So it's not quite familiar for us to run your dog like we do today.
So thank you very much, gentlemen. You're very welcome here, and I hope we see you for many years to come.
I hope so. Thank you.
It's great to have a proper international competition.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, thank you very much.
The guys in charge of the competitions today think it's going swimmingly. Nigel Carville, you've been judging here today. What's the standard been like?
The standard has been very high, so it has pleasantly surprised. It's been very high. The golden retriever, what I'd like to see, the nose and the way they are sent. I'm a Labrador man, so our dogs are usually hunting quite close to the ground, but the distances that the Goldens are finding some of the retrieves and sanding from has been really amazing.
The big thing I'm looking for is a dog that is under control, can be put where it can use the capabilities that it has, which are all to do with the qualities of nose and so forth. So you're looking for a handler who's able, in the test that we've been doing this afternoon for instance, to read the situation and is capable of putting their dog downwind of the dummy. Yeah. And actually relatively few managed to do that straight off this afternoon. I mean, the dogs invariably pulled over towards the path, towards the water. Then when they got down here, they were the wrong side of the wind, so the handlers had to work to get them right. And we had one person who was actually running for the Ulster Golden Retriever Club, who sent their dog, and it went down the centre of the course, was right for the wind, turned in on the dummy, and it was great to see that. And that's when you feel really enthusiastic about the breed, because they, as Nigel says, they've got this ability at times to win from fantastic distance.
Would you like to know how to shoot a few more birds, how to improve your shotgun technique a bit? Because there are a few errors that a lot of people make, which I just want to talk about now. Mike's first customer today is Liz, and she's in safe hands. What did you bring today?
I brought along we bred an ultralight 12 bore.
Okay, smashing. Well, we'll take it out of the slip. Always careful when we do this. Break the gun before it comes out of the slip. Finger off the trigger. Gun is clear. I'll give you back your slip. We can just put it down there if you like. Try and get that in the right place. Head down. Relax that elbow. Put a finger there for me. Lovely. And that's looking actually very nice. We've got nice constant pressure there. The gun is coming up to the shoulder in the right place. And you're exactly where you should be. I'm just checking that the laser is well zeroed, which it is. Trigger. That's lovely. Perfect. So for Mike to right the wrongs, he might need to fit and customize your gun, which is where Chris the gunsmith comes in. He's a bit like Uri Geller, bending and warping the stock to make it just right. Well, the first thing I've got to do is get the outrageous plug-in for the book, which covers all these gun fitting issues. Gun fit problems are surprisingly common. I would say about 50% of people who shoot have some sort of gun fit issue or issue with their eyes. Let me just show you. Most men control their pointing process with the right eye. You can see the finger is in line with the right eye. Some men are left eye dominant, cross dominant, and you can see that finger is now in line with my left eye. A small percentage of men have central vision, where neither eye is dominant and the finger will now look as if it's in line with my nose. Women, however, and boys under about the age of 16, typically will have eyes which are fighting for control. So they need to shut one eye to stabilize that, and that can be a big issue. As well with women, their heads generally are a little smaller than men's heads. That's why women's hat sizes are typically a bit smaller, and this distance, the distance from the cheekbone to the center of the eye orbit, is reduced. Therefore, most women need a higher stock and a shorter stock. Boys under the age of 16, they have similar visual issues. Usually they've got to close an eye, or you've got to obstruct the vision to one eye for them to shoot well. Middle-aged blokes, on the other hand, first they get bigger, like me. You end up getting broader. Perhaps some people have got big man boobs, and you need a bit of extra cast sometimes to compensate for that, or slightly change the shape of the stock. But the other big thing that happens with a lot of middle-aged men is that this left eye, if they're right-handed, starts to pull them across without them being aware of it. So at 40 yards they might be a yard up one side without them knowing it. And then what you do is you put a bit of cast on the gun, you bend the stock across to one side to compensate for that pull of the eye. But what most people really ought to do is they ought to get someone professional to check their eye dominance, and it is quite complicated. I have 6 different categories of eye dominance now, and to check their gun fit. Because if you do have a good gun fit, you'll get more fun from your shooting, and also if you're game shooting, it makes sure that you're humanely harvesting game, which is very important. You know, we worry about this stuff today, and quite rightly so. So yes, get your gun fit checked, get your eye dominance checked. We caught up with Liz later and asked her, well, had it actually worked? So Liz, you've had your gun bent to suit and you've tried it out in the clay range. What happened?
It was absolutely brilliant. Whenever I was shooting, no kickback at all, less recoil. I usually would end up with a really sore shoulder and things too, but no bruising on the face, didn't hurt at all. And I even managed to get 2/8 at 2 of the stands, so still impressed. Now it's across the North Channel, up the Minch to Cape Wrath, where Charlie has just 24 hours to fish those lochs.
Thank you, Paul, as ever looking more trim and spruce than a Forestry Commission block. Well, forestry is something you don't get this far north in Scotland. It's a barren but beautiful landscape, studded with lochs, hundreds of lochs, and I'm with a dozen people from England and from locally keen to catch one trout from every piece of water in the area. Here's fisherman Patrick Rose.
One fish from every loch. What's your plan?
I haven't decided yet. I'll go where the weather takes me, and you can see some movement. Try and find a few little lochhounds and see what happens.
I start to get the feeling that some of the fishers here are not taking this seriously.
And I haven't got a clue where I'm going to go. I'm going to just wander.
Like a cloud?
Not lonely, but I'm going to wander and I'm going to visit 1 or 2 memorable old haunts. And I'm going to enjoy myself.
The happy campers are slow starting. We've got just a day to do this and we have 11,000 acres to play with. I'm planning to put in the miles today. The fish here are small but perfectly formed. In light wind like we're enjoying, put yourself on the windward side of the loch and you get 2 benefits. The insect life gets blown off the moorland beside you, which attracts the fish, and the water is not badly ruffled in the lee of the bank, so you can see where those fish are rising. Now we have one problem. How do we prove to each other how many fish we've caught and from which lochs? Well, I solve this with modern technology and take a photograph of every fish I catch with my phone. Yes, not many you may notice, and eventually I have to stop. That's because, inevitably, I drop the phone in the loch. My final tally is a not very spectacular 13 fish from 10 lochs across more than 15 miles of walking. Is this enough? We meet the following morning for a slap-up breakfast in a local house.
Seriously, how many do you reckon you caught a fish out of yesterday?
One.
Is that because it's sort of fishing heavy? You just arrive, they're rising, you think, well, I don't want to move to another loch?
I had such a perfect hour after that. I was very happy just to enjoy the scenery, take it all in and relax, and did a little bit more fishing. Did catch the odd one or two on different places, but I was more than happy with that hour and a half of bliss.
I mean, I think I'm the only one who took the whole sort of one fish per loch seriously.
Were we supposed to do that? No one told me.
So that's it. The blighters came here for the trout, not the competition. On paper, I'm the winner, but I'm not sure I don't feel like the loser. Still, you couldn't ask for a better place to go trouting. If you want to fish on the Ryconic estate, talk to the Kinloch Burvey Hotel, www.kinlochburveyhotel.com.
Thanks, Charlie. I see you're still looking like a public schoolboy version of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. And frankly, you can get stuffed. With Ingrid in the taxidermy, of course. Clearly it's no dying art then.
It's clearly not a dying art, Paul. It's alive as ever, and I think you cannot beat this kind of educational material when it comes to schools. And of course it's fabulous for bird lovers as well, to keep the birds that they find alongside the road, which would otherwise rot away, to have them in prime condition, preserved until, well, probably the end of time itself.
Ingrid, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Have a lovely day.
Time to head over to the main arena, and after the police have seen off the poacher, it's all clear for the Cochise horses. One is being ridden by a real cowgirl from Idaho. Courtney is studying over here.
Well, I go to school at Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I'm a double major in equine and animal science. Okay. And my school requires that for my degree I do an internship, and it can either be spent abroad or in the States, and I figured I might as well take the chance while I got it, and I've always wanted to come to Ireland, and so why not do both things that I've always wanted to do. I get to be in Ireland and work with the horses.
And are you based at the Cochise Stud?
Yes, yep.
You're enjoying that, obviously.
Yeah, I've had a good time.
I must say it's lovely to meet somebody who not only studies but can do as well. Excellent, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
You know, for many people, the show's a chance to shop till you drop. Or you can turn into a swamp monster. You know, some of the traders have come right across Europe to be here. Fantastic. Laurence, I've never seen as many flies in one place in my life.
Well, we were the main supplier in England at one time, all the big shops. But unfortunately the shops don't pay the bills now because of the high street shops, so we had to change our tack about 4 years ago and start selling our good quality flies to the customer at a reasonable price.
And you do all the game fairs?
We do all the game fairs in Ireland, we do all the game fairs in England, and in the winter we sell a lot of clothing. We make our own clothing, which is House of Tweed. We're also one of Hunter's major distributors in the UK after 2 years. We're the North East's largest stockist.
What is your biggest seller in flies? Wet flies, dry flies?
Well, it depends on where you go. You go to Scotland, you sell a lot of Scottish flies. You come to Ireland, you sell a lot of Irish flies. But generally, reservoir, put and take flies are what everybody goes for, yeah? You sell quite a lot of salmon flies, but really, salmon anglers lost a lot of flies. The trout guy goes fishing on put and take reservoirs is the one of the guys the most flies.
And with the fishing season in full flight at the moment, I'm sure you're very busy here at Chains Castle.
We're busy at Chains Castle selling flies because we've got a lot of customers. We've built up over the 3 years we've been coming in Ireland, 4 years. They've all now starting to follow us, and every show we do we see the same faces buying flies.
Well, it's nice to see yet another international salesman at Chains Castle.
That's right. Thank you.
Fishing talk makes me thirsty. Time to head to the bar, and you never know who you might find propping it up.
I've been over here crow shooting for a week, and I just came along here to try and win a gun in the unclassified clay pigeon competition, but I think last night's drinking has played havoc with my normally very steady eyes. But no, we had a hell of a do yesterday. We picked up 645 crows. We reckon we shot nearly 1,000 because we had a sort of slurry pit behind us. We weren't going to go and pick them up because we're not getting covered in stuff just for crows. But it doesn't always work. We've been to a few other farms in the last couple of days. We had 45 the day before. It just didn't happen. day before that we got 160, and they said that wasn't good. You know, things weren't right. Problem with the north of Ireland at the moment, it's very wet, so they're out in different fields. We went down to the south of Ireland, and it's quite a bit drier there. Conditions were better for us, and the other lads that can shoot really can shoot, and there wasn't a lot getting away. And it was probably the best day shooting I've ever had in my life. I think I personally had 900 shells in about 6 hours, and connected with quite a few, but I've never seen anything like it. Those boys have got that crow shooting sussed, so it's been one hell of a trip.
You'd recommend people to go over a bit of sport in Ireland then?
I'd say if you know the right people, come over and give it a go, and if the shooting doesn't work out, you'll have plenty of crack.
I've been talking to Ruth about her hypnotherapy, and apparently she does regression therapy as well. And I wonder where that's going to take me. Wow, I seem to have ended up in some sort of medieval encampment. In the shadow of the castle is the medieval village. Henry VIII is here for the weekend. So what field sports exactly would he have been enjoying?
Pretty much the routine as you see them today. Hawking, hunting, dog racing, horse racing, very popular. Tudors are inveterate gamblers, women particularly. So also no change there. And of course the money was taken from the men.
Would this have been the prerogative of the rich, or would everybody have been involved?
I think you could argue that the events are the same, but royal hunting in the Royal Forest, that's a royal prerogative, you have to be titled. When you come down the lane, dog racing, hawking, that's perfectly feasible even for the non-gentry and the rest. When you get down to foot racing, fighting, wrestling, proper field sports, anybody can have a go.
So once you've bagged your game, you've got to do it justice in the kitchen. Let's join Emmett McCourt and see what he's doing with duck.
First of all, I actually cut the duck breast, the fat, and let it pan fry, so that all the fat would go right through the duck breast itself. And then afterwards, you know, I sealed it, skin side down, and turned it, finished it in the oven. In the pan, I cleaned the pan, get rid of some of the oil itself or fat from the duck, and then I diced an onion and sweated it off without colour. After which we added the black cherries and the port and reduced that down in another stage, you know, so it's really all about stages.
I noticed when you were going through those stages, there was an aroma of each of the things that you were putting in, but at the end everything's just combined into the one sort of magical flavour.
I suppose that's where the skill is, you know. It's important to do it in various stages, you know. I forgot to mention the port there too. The port came down as well and reduced that down, you know, so it's sort of caramelised and you get that lovely sugar content.
The game has to be the ultimate free range.
Oh, absolutely, ultimately, you know. I mean, there's nothing debated in terms of free range product, you know. It's roaming, you know. For example, we talked about it the last time, pheasants, you know, they're eating a lot of corn, you know, and you get your corn-fed chicken in the supermarkets, you know. There's nothing more wilder, obviously, than the pheasant or, you know, any sort of game, you know.
Well, go for game and Emmett McCourt, perhaps you're going to change the eating habits of a generation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This has been Fieldsports Britain. Thanks for watching. We're back next week, and the great game fairs of Ireland will be back on the last weekend of August at Birr, County Offaly. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Let's leave you with a few more shots of Shane's Castle 2011.